Americans paying those stupefyingly high prices for prescription drugs.
Patients in the U.S. spend more on prescription drugs than any other country in the world.
Even if you have health insurance, paying for medication can be very costly. Some patients can't really afford their prescriptions.
Prescription drugs in America are the highest in cost compared to any other country in the world. Americans are the biggest spenders on prescription drugs. Americans paid $325 billion in 2012 on prescription drugs. That is almost twice as much than any other country. Let's take, for example, the cholesterol-lowering drug Lipitor. Lipitor costs $125 in America, but in Canada, Lipitor costs only $33.
This is Lipitor, and that's a widely used drug. And here is the cost of Lipitor, the same amount. In Canada, it costs $33, France, $53, Germany, $48, Netherlands, $63, Spain, $32, the United Kingdom, $40, USA, $125, 4 times as much as it cost in Canada. Now, you explain that to me. Same exact medicine, made in the same exact factory, same exact bottle. And that is why, by the way, in the state of Vermont and all across the northern tier, people every day going over the Canadian border or using the internet to buy those drugs.
So why are these drugs so costly? The FDA controls the drugs that are allowed on the market, making many drugs cost more because of higher regulations. But the main reason drugs cost a lot is because of the patent that pharmaceutical companies put on their drugs. The patent stops other companies from creating a generic similar drug that costs significantly less.
Generic drug is the exact same chemical and the exact same milligram amount, the exact active ingredient. These are the blockbuster drugs that have just become generically available, and the only difference, they're lower cost.
Pharmaceutical companies pay off doctors to prescribe their patients to the brand name drug that they have produced, leaving patients to fend for themselves over the prices.
Recent studies show that the more doctors interact with drug marketers, even though receiving small gifts and modest meals, the more likely doctors are to prescribe the expensive new drugs that are being marketed to them when a more affordable generic would do just as well. Seniors lose out with unnecessarily high drug costs, while doctors and drug manufacturers benefit financially.
With such high prices, many people are not able to afford the drugs and altogether go off such medication.
Hi, my name is Mary Clester, and I do take prescription drugs for my high blood pressure, 2 different ones, and then I take another one for my cholesterol. And I had to call my doctor last month because the prescription I was going to pick up was going to cost me $90. And I just flat told the lady, the pharmacist, I'm not going to pay for that. And so she said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to call my doctor, and I'm going to see if she can't give me something different, because that is just too high, and I can't afford it, and a lot of other people can't afford it either. So I think we're getting ripped off. And this isn't the first time I've done this. I was on for my high osteoporosis, and that went up to $100 a month, and I refused to take that, so now I'm not taking anything for my osteoporosis anymore. Because it's going to get really bad if these prices don't go down a little bit. These people that are sick and they need these drugs aren't going to be able to afford to take them. And I just don't know what the solution's going to be, but I'm not going to pay that kind of high price.
With so many people not able to afford their prescriptions, Congress should shift their focus on helping the American people get healthier by lowering the price of prescription drugs.
Is one of the many healthcare crises that we face in this country is the high cost of prescription drugs. And I think there is a lot that we have to do. Whether the Congress is capable of standing up to the drug companies and all of their money and all of their lobbyists remains to be seen. But this is, quite frankly, a no-brainer. For all of my colleagues here who believe in unfettered free trade, please do not be total hypocrites. If you believe in unfettered free trade, which I happen not to, if you believe that it's okay for American companies to shut down and run to China, if you think it's okay for people to buy any product anywhere in the world, tell me why we can do that for everything except for prescription drugs. There is no rational explanation. So this is legislation which has been around for years. The drug companies have fought it successfully for years. We now have widespread tripartisan support here in the Senate, a lot of support, I know, in the House. Let's finally stand up for the average American. Let's substantially lower the cost of prescription drugs.